will call the order of the Authority Board to order. If you would give your attention to.
Due to COVID-19, this meeting will be conducted as a Zoom meeting pursuant to the provisions of Assembly Bill 361, which suspends certain requirements of the Brown Act. This meeting is being live streamed on the CCTA website. The chair will call upon members, staff, and other speakers by name. Please speak clearly and state your name before giving comments or remarks. Persons participating via Zoom with their cameras enabled are reminded that their activities are visible to viewers. Members participating by Zoom wishing to speak should physically raise their hand and unmute their mic when called upon. Members should mute their mics when done speaking. Citizens participating by Zoom wishing to speak should use the Raise Hand feature or dial *9 if participating via phone, and the chair or staff will call upon them at the appropriate time. Citizens will have 3 minutes to speak. After 3 minutes, staff will lower their hand and mute their mic. Participants via phone will be called upon by the last 4 digits of their phone number. It is requested that public speakers state their names and organization, but providing such information is voluntary. Written public comments received in accordance with the teleconferencing special notice for public comment guidelines are printed on the meeting agenda. If authors of the written correspondence would like to speak, they should raise their hand and the chair will call upon them at the appropriate time. All written correspondence received after that and during the meeting will be entered into the record. A roll call vote will be taken for all action items. Thank you for participating in a meeting of the Contra Costa Transportation Authority.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we'll have roll call, please.
Commissioner Carlson?
Here.
Commissioner Fedeli?
Here.
Commissioner Haskew? Here. Commissioner Kelly? Here. Commissioner Meadows?
Here.
Commissioner/Representative Nowak?
Here.
Commissioner Perkins?
Here.
Commissioner Thorpe?
Here.
Vice Chair Arnrich?
Here.
Chair/Representative Glover?
Here.
Representative Foley?
Present.
Okay. We do have a quorum, and we have Commissioner Sauce and Representative Peoples absent.
Okay, so I'm going to ask that Member Finelli lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next we have an opportunity for members of the public to address the board on items that are not on tonight's agenda but falls within the purview of the body. Any public comments?
I don't have any written or verbal public comment, but I do have Representative Peoples attending as a public member with his hand raised, so I'm going to allow him to talk.
Okay.
Representative Peoples?
Yes, I just wanted to comment that unfortunately this is the same night as one of my AC Transit board meetings, so I'll be watching it as a member of the public, but unfortunately can't be there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have no presentations this evening, so our next item is the consent calendar agenda.
Just heard that. Looking for the hearing, and I just made a slot for nothing more than my hard work. I walked in.
Oh, okay, somebody's got there.
I'll move the consent.
Any members want to remove an item, or do we have any public comments on the consent calendar?
No public comments, written or verbal.
Okay, I will entertain a motion.
I will move the consent calendar.
Okay. Second. So we have a motion by Noack, second by Meadows. Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Carlson?
Aye.
Commissioner Fedeli?
Aye.
Commissioner Haskew?
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly?
Aye.
Commissioner Meadows?
Aye.
Commissioner Nowak?
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Thorpe?
Aye.
Vice Chair Arnrich?
Aye.
Chair Glover?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously with Commissioner Sauce absent.
Okay, we'll move to our regular agenda item, and these are from the Administration Committee. Okay. So this is an item that will be presented by Stephanie Hu for the 2024 State Transportation Improvement Program candidate projects.
Oh, it's on. New system.
Welcome, Stephanie.
Good evening. Can you hear me? Okay. Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Stephanie, Director of Projects at the Authority. This is an action item related to the 2024 STIP. Every 2 years, the California Transportation Commission, or the CTC, adopts a 5-year STIP that shows how it intends to commit state and federal funding for transportation capital projects for the upcoming 5-year period. The 2024 STIP covers a 5-year period between fiscal year 2025 and fiscal year 28-29. Since the STIP is updated every 2 years, each STIP cycle adds 2 new years to prior programming commitments. The 2024 STIP will add programming of funds for fiscal year 27, 28, and 28, 29. As we anticipated CTC's release of the 2024 fund estimate that was scheduled to happen in August, the Authority issued a call for project in April, and applications were due on June 16. The Authority received 4 applications totaling $40.3 million in funding requests. 9 members of the Technical Coordinating Committee, or the TCC, volunteered to serve on a STIP subcommittee to evaluate the applications. In June, the evaluators met and scored all the applications except for the ones that were submitted by their own agency. The subcommittee used the scoring criteria that the board approved in April. The staff from the Authority did not participate in the scoring, but only facilitated the process. Attachment B is a rank list of all the applications. The TCC recommended approval of the subcommittee's ranked list at their meeting in July. The top-ranked project is Town of Moraga, St. Mary's Road, Multimodal Safety Improvement Projects. The town is requesting $9.993 million in STIP funding to support the design phase and the construction phase of the project. The project aims to address significant geometric roadway and site distance deficiencies on St. Mary's Road between Ring Boulevard and Bollinger Canyon Road. The project also provides bicycle and pedestrian improvements for safe access to the Moraga-Lafayette Regional Trail. The final 2024 fund estimate was released by the CTC in August. There is approximately $43.15 million for new programming for Contra Costa in the 2024 STIP. After taking into account of paying back for the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, or ARRA funds for the Caldecott Tunnel project, and funding needed for programming, funding, and monitoring activities for MTC and Authority staff, there is approximately $10.529 million remaining in the 2024 STIP for the new project programming in fiscal year 28-29. This is sufficient for the funding request from Moraga for the top-ranked project of St. Mary's Road Improvement Project, requesting $9.93 million. The remaining $536,000 isn't enough to fund any other project on the rank list. The total project cost for the St. Mary's Road project is $11.3 million. Beyond what they asked for that $10 million in STIP, the town was planning to use approximately $1.3 million in return to source money for Measure J to fund the project. Since the remaining $536,000 in STIP isn't enough to fund other projects on the rank list, and it cannot be used to fund existing STIP projects, the Authority worked with the town to arrange for a fund exchange. Staff proposes to program the entire available 2024 STIP amount of $10.529 million to St. Mary's Road project. In exchange, the town of Moraga will pay back the over-programmed STIP funding of $536,000 with their future Measure J return to fund source, which Authority will start retaining in fiscal year 30. The fund exchange doesn't add any extra work or burden on the town because they had to go through the STIP process to access the funding with their original fund request. The exchange of $536,000 will go to augmenting the Authority's fund exchange reserve of the FER, and this is a policy that the board approved in 2021. The FER was established to create a flexible fund source so that we can cover project cost increases or to be used for as matching funds for external fund sources and grant application. The usage of the FER requires board approval. In summary, staff seeks authorization to program $10.529 million in STIP funding to the town of Moraga for the St. Mary's Road Multimodal Safety Improvement Project. And also staff seeks authorization for the chair to execute Agree number 661 with the town of Moraga for the exchange of $536,000 in STIP funding and with an equal amount of the town's future share of Measure J return to fund source, and to allow the executive director or designee to make any non-substantive changes to the agreement. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for the report. Are there any members' questions or comments? Okay. Are there any public comments? Anybody in the building tonight?
No public comments, written or verbal.
Okay, thank you. I would entertain a motion for approval.
I would be glad to move that, and just so you know, we did look at this deeply at our committee meeting. This is exactly what we intended when we codified the rule back in 2021, and by practice, we've done this over the years. So this is a perfect example, and it doesn't cost the agency or any of us as individuals. So be glad to move the motion as presented.
Okay.
Second.
There's a motion by Arnrich, second by Meadows. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Carlson?
Yes.
Commissioner Fidelli?
Aye.
Commissioner Haskell? Aye. Commissioner Kelly? Aye. Commissioner Meadows?
Aye.
Commissioner Nowak?
Yes?
Commissioner Perkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Thorpe?
Aye.
Vice Chair Arnrich?
Aye.
Chair Glover?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously with Commissioner Sauce absent.
Okay, thank you. We'll move to our next agenda item, which will be presented by Terrell Grover, and this is the appointment of a board member to serve on the Iron Horse Corridor Management Program Advisory Committee. Terrell Lynn.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. This is an action item to appoint a primary board member to serve on the Iron Horse Corridor Management Program Advisory Committee. This committee was authorized by the Contra Costa Board of Supervisors in 1997 to assist with the development of a management program for the Iron Horse Trail. In October 2019, Assembly Bill 1025 by Grayson was signed into law and revised the committee bylaws to include a seat for CCTA. In March 2020, the Authority Board appointed Commissioner Dave Hudson from the City of San Ramon to serve on the committee. In July 2023, Commissioner Hudson resigned from the CCTA Board, which created a vacancy on this committee. The Iron Horse Regional Trail has been operated and maintained by the East Bay Regional Parks District since 1986 through a license agreement with the county and extends 32 miles spanning along unincorporated Contra Costa County and the communities between the cities of Concord and Pleasanton. The multi-use trail serves pedestrians, bicyclists, and other wheeled modes of transportation and extends to the Dublin-Pleasanton BART station. Committee members serve a 2-year term. The committee meetings are held in person in Martinez at the Contra Costa County Public Works Department, and they meet quarterly starting in February at 4:30 p.m. Staff seeks Authority Board appointment of one board member to serve on the committee or authorization for the Executive Director to assign a staff member to represent the Authority. That concludes my presentation, and I will open it up for any questions and/or nominations.
Okay, thank you, Board.
I would like to make a nomination, please. I would be honored to nominate Noel Arnrich for the job.
Thank you. Second.
Okay, so there's a motion and a second with a nomination. Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, we do have a motion and a second. We'll do a roll call vote, please.
Can we call for any public comment?
Yes, we will entertain public comments, if there are any.
Not seeing any public comment, written or verbal.
Okay, and again, this nomination is for Noel Arnrich to serve on this board.
Can I clarify, the motion was by Haskell, the second was by Carlson? Okay,
Correct.
thank you. Commissioner Carlson?
Aye.
Commissioner Fidelli?
Aye.
Commissioner Haskell? Aye. Commissioner Kelly?
Aye.
Commissioner Meadows?
Aye.
Commissioner Nowak?
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Thorpe?
Aye.
Vice Chair Arnridge?
Aye.
Chair Glover?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously with Commissioner Sauce absent.
Thank you all.
Okay, thank you and welcome.
I look forward to it.
We'll move to the next action item on the agenda today. This will also be presented by Tara Lynn Grover, and this is an appointment to the primary and alternate board member seat to serve on the San Joaquin Joint Powers Authority Board.
Good evening again, Chair and Commissioners. So this is to appoint a primary and an alternate board member to the San Joaquin Joint Powers Authority Board. The board was formed under Assembly Bill 1779 in September 2012. In December 2020, the authority appointed Commissioner Hudson to serve as the board member and Commissioner Burgess to serve as the alternate board member. Since Commissioner Hudson's term on the authority board ended on July 10th, he can no longer serve on the board in accordance with their joint power exercise of powers agreement, which states that the board member and alternate shall be a member of the board of directors of a regional transportation agency that serves Contra Costa County. CCTA is one of the 10 member agencies that make up the board. The San Joaquin Intercity Passenger Rail Service has stops in Contra Costa, including Martinez and Richmond, as well as a proposed station in the city of Oakley. The benefits of the authority having representation on the board includes the opportunity to advocate for service improvements at both the state and federal level, expansion, performance reviews, and the ability to engage with those who live in the county and use the services. The term lasts as long as the board member and alternate serve as a commissioner or commissioner alternate on the authority board. The board meets bi-monthly in person in altering locations along the San Joaquin corridor, which is determined at the prior board meeting. Options for consideration include appointing alternate member Burgess as the primary member and appointing a new alternate. A second option is to appoint a new primary member and keep alternate member Burgess as the alternate. And the third option is to appoint a new primary and a new alternate. I will now open up for discussion and nominations and take any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Okay, you have heard the options that's before us. Is there any comments at this time?
Mr.
on
Chair,
Nominations.
I would like to nominate Diane Burgess for the primary board position.
Second.
Okay, let me check in to see if there's any other nominations. Seeing no other nominations, at this time, we will call for a roll call vote.
Can we call for public comment? And then, I need to verify the second again. Meadows, okay.
Meadows.
Do we have any public comment virtually? No, I'm not seeing any hands raised, so no public comment.
Okay, roll call.
Okay, Commissioner Carlson?
Aye.
Commissioner Fidelli?
Aye.
Commissioner Haskell?
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly? Aye. Commissioner Meadows?
Aye.
Commissioner Nowak?
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Thorpe?
Aye.
Vice Chair Arnridge?
Aye.
Chair Glover?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes unanimously with Commissioner Sauce absent.
Okay, at this time, we will go for the alternate vote on this. Nominations?
Yes, with the potential of Oakley being an added stop, I'd like to nominate Aaron Meadows as the alternate.
I'll second that.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any comments? Any public comments?
No public comment, written or verbal.
Okay, we will call for the vote. There is a motion by Nowak, second by Carlson.
Commissioner Carlson?
Aye.
Commissioner Fidelli?
Aye.
Commissioner Haskell?
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly? Aye. Commissioner Meadows?
Aye.
Commissioner Nowak?
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Thorpe?
Aye.
Vice Chair Arnridge?
Aye.
Chair Glover?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously with Commissioner Sauce absent.
Okay, welcome aboard. The next item on the agenda is all aboard. Okay, next item on the agenda is Planning Committee, and this presentation will be made by Yee Smith on the countywide means-based fair program and allocation of Contra Costa County's Measure X funds to Tri-Delta Transit for the ongoing operations of the program and their service area.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, Commissioners. I believe this is the first time the Authority Board is receiving update on this project.
Can you mic?
Is this better?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Good evening again. So I believe it's the first time the Authority Board is receiving an update on the means-based program that is in partnership with Tri-Delta Transit. So my presentation today will include both a progress report on the pilot as well as the recommendation on the next steps. This pilot is a partnership between CCTA, Contra Costa County, and Tri-Delta Transit. I would like to first recognize in the audience today, we have Rashidi Barnes from Tri-Delta Transit, as well as John Cunningham, county staff, who join us by Zoom. So I want to give you some background on the pilot. A means-based fare program was recommended in the Accessible Transportation Strategic Plan, Strategy 20. The strategy calls for the continuation and expansion of the means-based fare subsidy for low-income population. This pilot is funded by $100,000 in Contra Costa County Measure X funds, with the Authority Board's approval in January this year. Under this program, we launched the pilot on April 1st, and the existing ADA paratransit passengers who live within the Tri-Delta Transit area who meet the extremely low income criteria are eligible to participate. Authority staff working with Tri-Delta Transit, we collectively promote the program in several ways: direct phone calls, its automatic system, postal cards, as well as information flyers on the paratransit vehicles, digital promotion on the website, on Tri-Delta Transit website, and most importantly, the in-person communication. A little bit more details on the pilot program. The Contra Costa Crisis Center is handling customer service. They are contracted working for CCTA. They also did the income eligibility verification. The eligible participants receive one 10-ride ticket book each month. The value is $27.50. All pilot participants will receive a total of 6 books. That's a total of 60 tickets, regardless when they started the program. And just want to show you some numbers. This is the number as the 4-month mark as of July 31st. The Crisis Center has received 129 unique inquiries, processed 60 income eligibility checks, and approved 54 passengers. The count as of August, the end of August, was 64 eligible customers. And we have a map showing where the participants live. I want to share with you some of the feedback, both from the agency who managed the program as well as later on with the customers. Overall, the program, the pilot was operating very well. We had some a little bit hiccups, especially at the beginning. The most significant customer service issue was the 2 points of contacts. Many customers are used to call Tri-Delta Transit's reservation line, but under this pilot, they were directed to call 211, and that two agency system can be confusing to some passengers. However, the crisis center also have a lot of value added. When they have the participants on the phone, they were able to provide other resources to them because they're eligible for other social service programs. One more thing we want to share with you that our experience that this is a hard to reach population. We have reached out to them in many ways. The number of participants is much lower than anticipated. This is a similar experience as what MTC is experiencing with Clippers Start, which is another means-based subsidy program. Regardless, the overall feedback was positive. Many users expressed their appreciation for the free tickets. And next, I would like to just share with you what we heard from our customers. Tri-Delta Transit staff make those phone calls to them to get their feedback, and those are the kind of highlight some of the things we heard. And I want to just share with you that a similar report was presented to the Accessible Transportation Task Force Working Group in August. The working group members have several questions about the pilot as well as the staff recommendation. Overall, the working group was very supportive of this program, and they also support staff recommendation to expand it to countywide. I want to just jump ahead on some of our staff recommendations. We're seeking the authority board's approval to proceed with a countywide program for 12 months, working with Tri-Delta Transit, WestCat, as well as County Connection. The second part of the recommendation is approval to continue the program with Tri-Delta Transit service area, as detailed in Resolution 2336G. And next, I would like to share with you some of the changes we're proposing as we move forward. First, we think it's really important that we provide a single point of contact for the customers. This is really the best way to provide customer service and to minimize the confusion. Authority staff is very grateful that Tri-Delta Transit has offered to step up to run this program and provide that one single point of contact. Also take care of the communication and income eligibility verification. We believe this approach will be also kind of not only provide better customer service, will help the coordination to eliminate some of the admin burden on when we have the three agency kind of collaboration. At this point, I would like to ask Rashidi if he has anything to add as his experience in this program.
I don't know what this is, but thank you to the chair and to CTA board. We look forward to continuing this program. It's been a great 6 months. Now with us taking this over, specifically in Eastern Contra Costa County, we believe that, like Ying talked about, having that one click, one call is going to be going to remove a lot of the barriers that we saw during the pilot program. So, and then getting WestCat as well as County Connection involved in their specific areas, I think also will drive and increase participation in this program. So I'm here to answer any questions that you may have, but thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Okay. At the end of your presentation? Okay. So questions, comments?
I just have some questions. These were Mr. Barnes. So thank you for starting this program and, knowing this population. I think a single point of contact is really important, and people like that, and you can have consistent contact with your staff. That would be great. And also, passing out postcards. You can mail out postcards, but passing out postcards and having them at senior centers, churches, those kinds of things, you can really reach people, and then they can pass those on to their friends too, and try and reach more and more. And I hope that you could share the successes of your marketing efforts with both County Connection and with WestCat. So if they decide to do the same kind of program, they will be successful as well.
We definitely will share our experiences with both County Connection and WestCat. We rarely meet, or as a group, and we discuss programs like these. We want to make sure that it's not just successful for Tri-Delta, but for the county as well. And so, to your point, we make a point to get out and get involved in the community, spend more time at the various centers that we serve on a daily basis. And so it's not just the postcards, it's also the one-on-one conversations that we have with our with this population.
Yeah, I know that this is very, very important, and establishing those relationships is really important. And then when people, when they talk with you and they they get to know your staff and all, then they will say to their friends, hey, I talked with somebody at Tri-Delta, and this person's name was so-and-so, and they were very helpful. You ought to call them as well.
Relationships is what it's all about.
Exactly.
When the paratransit community, they feel comfortable with individuals that they work with and they have trust in, that's what we've built over the decades that we've run the various programs we have. And so that's why taking this over, we feel that comfortable that we'll be able to increase the ridership and participation in this just through engagement as well as our personal relationships that we have with the various riders.
That's great, and I look forward to hearing in a year about how it's all gone. Thank you.
Commissioner Peters?
Do you have a sense of what the potential population would be that would qualify? And 54 seems like a pretty small number, and I would think it would be, even an order of magnitude higher than that. Do you have a sense of what that population could be?
Yeah, we actually ran some numbers based on the census data. The upward potential is 250 participants within the Tri-Delta Transit area will be eligible. We're a long way away from it, but that is, we're a little bit surprised, but not completely surprised. We hope we will get somewhere closer to the 350, much higher than what we have today. We're working towards that.
Do we have a plan for how we will get to even double the 54?
I think the marketing that Rashidi mentioned, that's really important. And you want you to elaborate on that?
Yeah. Also, what we noticed by having the two groups that worked a part of this, that we believe was a barrier, because individuals who did not know the crisis center, they didn't feel comfortable with contacting them to say, hey, I need to get this ticket for this program for my ADA service. So now that they'll be talking directly to Tri-Delta Transit and our staff, we believe that that's going to reduce that barrier and allow for people to have, like I said before, more comfortable conversations about their needs when it comes to ADA paratransit.
Thank you.
Any other commissioners?
Federal.
Oh, yes. Commissioner Noack.
How will this coordinate? I know Contra Costa County gets held up really well for doing a lot of coordination, and Rashida sitting behind you, I know has worked on the county connection stuff and the one-seat ride. How does this fit in with the one-seat ride program?
With our expansion, one-seat ride will be eligible under this program. And since County Connection is running it, so when we talk to them, which will happen very soon, trust me, we will talk about like all the County Connection customers plus the one-seat ride customers will be eligible.
All right, thank you.
Any other comments? Questions? Yes.
Speaking of Rashida, I trust everything she does. Would she be the counterpart at CCTA? I should say CTA. So what is going to be her role, and how will that change to help get this program going even better, like Scott was saying?
I think we are getting ahead of our exec director's announcement, but it's no secret.
Whoops.
And I think we have, with Rashida coming on board, we have a strong ally with the transit partners. So that will just make things going a lot quicker and a lot smoother. It's that relationship that she has built and we all collectively have built will help us to be very successful as we launch this countywide program.
That's great. I have great confidence. I'd be glad to move this item.
And I'd second that.
Okay, so this item that's before us, we have a motion and a second. Let me just say that this is exciting sitting on the Tri-Delta Board. I'm looking forward to this program, and I want to thank Rashidi for his presence in the community. It really makes a difference when we see the ED at different events in the community. So, great. Okay, do we have any public comments?
No public comment, written or verbal.
We will do a roll call vote.
Commissioner Carlson?
Yes.
Commissioner Fideli?
Aye.
Commissioner Haskew?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner Meadows?
Aye.
Commissioner Nowak?
Aye.
Commissioner Perkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Thorpe?
Aye.
Vice Chair Arnrich?
Aye.
Chair Glover?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously with Commissioner Sauce absent.
Okay, thank you. We'll move to our next item on the agenda, which will be presented by John Wong on the California Public Utilities Commission Local Agency Technical Assistant Grant for the Contra Costa County Wideband Strategic Plan. John?
Good evening, Chair Glover, John Huang, Director of, we start over. Good evening, Chair Glover and Commissioners, John Huang, Director of Planning. And tonight, I will be presenting this item on the Contra Costa County-wide Broadband Strategic Plan. I just want to warn you that I'm not an expert on fiber optics, but I did stay at the Holiday Inn Express last night. Sorry, I'm sorry if no one got that joke, but why fiber optics? It's an old commercial. Why fiber optics? Because it's faster, there's more bandwidth, it's more reliable, and it's expandable. That's essentially the three key takeaway from that. When I first joined CCTA about 3.5 years ago, one of the first things I wanted to look into is the fiber optic network in the county, and we were able to start a fiber feasibility study back in 2021, and just to kind of interview those cities. We actually met with all the cities in the county and see what's existing out there in the network, and we found out that there's not that much fiber out there. I think City of San Pablo probably have a good amount of fiber. Maybe San Ramon and Walnut Creek did have a plan in place, but overall there's really sparse out there, and our goal was just kind of identify what the needs are and the gaps, and to develop a roadmap of how to implement the fiber countywide. So what we ended up with was coming up with a strategy to have a loop that loops around all region of the county. And you see those pink flags there. They're basically hubs, and this is a very high-level planning exercise. And there are hubs within all the sub-regions, and there's connection that goes directed to all the cities and the towns, including the county. And I apologize, Hercules doesn't have a flag there, but it goes to Hercules also. So once the fiber gets into the cities and the municipalities, then a lot of different entity and a lot of different departments within the city can utilize this network. And also tying in with what CCTA is doing with the smart signals, it does kind of reach out to all the controllers at the intersections out there and enable us to increase our communication for the whole signal system. Now, separately, the local agency's technical assistant program, CPUC released a call for projects last year in 2022, and we CCTA applied for this grant opportunity, and the whole program really focused on looking at unserved and underserved communities, trying to get those communities to have at least symmetrical upload and download speeds of at least 100 megabits per second. So the 83 census block was identified from the CPUC, and it really focused on about roughly 17,000 unserved households in the county. And again, this is unserved and underserved. Does not necessarily mean that it's in certain low-income areas, but it also areas in the mountains or out where cable or internet doesn't exist today. So the whole idea of this plan is to coordinate the implementation of the unserved and underserved communities, put together a roadmap for that, and really gives us an opportunity to tie it in with the transmission fiber network. This is a map from the CPUC website where it shows you where all the red dots kind of shows you where all the different facilities are that do not have adequate fiber, and then if you can see the green and blue areas shows you that there's a lot of areas that doesn't even barely have 25 megabytes per second service. So again, so that kind of gives you a background of what we've been working on as far as the bigger picture of the fiber plan for the county. Again, you all know that we're leading this Smart Signals project, and a lot of the communication right now, based on the funding that we receive, really surrounds wireless and utilizing existing copper, twisted copper, and really looking at that type of communications. But in the long run, we really want to look at fiber optics and installing fiber throughout the whole county. And during having this feasibility study plan completed and the opportunity to receive this grant from the PCPC will really set us up in a good position to receive any other funding coming down from the federal government or the state to build for capital improvements for the fiber network. So with that, this is good news. We received the news that we were awarded the grant back in June of this year, and now we're taking this information to the board and asking you to authorize us to enter a task order with Kimley Horn to develop a plan. With that, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, John. Comments, questions? Commissioner Kelly?
Yes, thank you, Director Huang. And when I first saw this, I was wondering, broadband, is this a transportation issue? But I see what you mean by tying in with our Smart Signals project, and I would imagine this would involve, eventually digging up the streets. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, broadband, you can have it above ground, like overhead, or typically it's really under street, and then there's different types of construction that can be done to install fiber. We want to avoid the open trench as much as possible. So one method that I'm aware of that I've been associated with this, that I'm familiar with is the directional bore, so you can that has the least disruption to the asphalt and the roadway surface. So that will be in the ground. Yes.
Okay, yeah, I think that's probably safest. Thank you.
Commissioner Noy?
Oh.
Okay. Commissioner Ardrey?
Well, thank you for the presentation. This is timely. A lot of us are, within our cities, are already have plans in place to do fiber connections to create that interconnect. I just add that when you look at autonomous vehicles and actually just vehicle safety, the next wave, it's just like everything we get on a new car, every new little sensor, it's because of autonomous vehicles. It's what they're learning in how to make those vehicles safer and independent. It's that technology that comes to the standard cars and vehicles. And in the same sense, that next wave is going to include cameras, right? Because the camera's not in your car, which we already have. It's a camera that's at every single intersection. So transmitting the information between signals is pretty easy. You don't need fiber for that, but you do need it for those video. And that technology is going to get more and more robust as time goes on, because autonomous vehicles and even regular cars can't look around corners very well. So this is great timing. Encourage each entity to look at, as they figure out ways to engage with this, is to put, and it's inexpensive, the biggest cost is to put it in the ground. The secondary cost is putting in those strands in there. We're doing a 120-strand main one that goes from one end of Danville to the other, and 100 of those are to any entity that wants to use them. And we're just trying to get more to spread out in neighborhoods. So it's not just for our signal interconnects, it's really to help get our cities as a whole up to a much higher level. And I think this is just perfect timing. And it does take time. There is a technology, there's a company called Sci-Fi that's probably talked to most of our staff. And what they're looking at is they would like to come in and put fiber in all of our communities for $0. What they want is an exclusive agreement, and then they will take that and their backbone of fiber, and they will guarantee that it goes to every house and every parcel. They would then make it an open network that AT&Ts and all them can come in and jump on that. But the technology that they've developed, and they're doing it in 3 cities, it's about 1.5 inch cut, so it's a micro cut. And they only have to go down 12 to 18 inches, so you can bypass going through the heavy utilities and the real undergrounding, and they put a sleeve. Because fiber is so small, the diameter of the little piece of my glasses here, that's going to carry maybe 500 billion in megabyte capacity. It's just extraordinary what it can cover or carry. So it's beyond bandwidth, it's just capacity that is what we need. So well done, and look forward to having this study.
Thank you for the comment.
No other commissioners, do we have any public comments?
No public comment, written or verbal.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion for approval?
Mr. Chair, I would like to move, execute task order number 4 with Kimley Horn, an amount of not to exceed $500,000 for the development of the plan.
Second.
So I have a motion by Kelly, second by Askew. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Carlson?
Yes.
Commissioner Fidelli?
Aye.
Oh, sorry. Commissioner Haskew?
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly?
Aye.
Commissioner Meadows?
Aye.
Commissioner Nowak?
Yes?
Commissioner Perkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Thorpe?
Aye.
Vice Chair Arnrich?
Aye.
Chair Glover?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously with Commissioner Sauce absent.
Okay, that concludes our regular agenda items. We have no correspondence tonight. Next is associated committee reports. There is a meeting report from SWAT and a cancellation notice from SWAT, and Transpac provided a packet. So those are in your package tonight. We'll now go to board members and staff reports.
I would just like to say that so far I have been to 5 CCTA events. Most recently, this past Sunday, Emily was there, Kat was there at the Danville Car Show. It was very, very well attended, and lots of people came by and saw our booth, our plans, and particularly Presto. And I got to tell you, not only are the children excited about this shared autonomous vehicle, but the old folks are too. And a lot of people said, gosh, when it comes over to Rossmore, this is going to be really great. So this is really, really worthwhile. I plan to be at more events, and I'll definitely show up at the Art and Wine Festival in Lafayette on September 24th, and I encourage any commissioners who are free to come out and join us there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other? Yes.
Yes, and I just wanted to thank Commissioner Kelly for coming to El Cerrito as well, where we had the presentation of Presto, and we thank the Chamber of Commerce and CCTA staff for that. It was well presented at a farmer's market, so you could buy your pasta and your tomatoes and go jump in the vehicle. It was a great thing. It was a very good turnout, and everybody looked up at the hills and said, will they go there? So we need to keep our minds open about the possibility as we build housing and take away parking that this is an application for first and last mile there too. Thank you.
Okay, any other commissioners? Okay, we will turn to our,
Thank you, Chair Glover. Just a brief update on some BART news. This last Monday, we started our new schedule, and to let you folks know what this means for our yellow line, which is our basically Antioch to SFO line. We're going from 15-minute trains to 10-minute, so that gets us 6 trains an hour from the old 4 trains per hour, and that's on weekdays and into the evenings. For everyone else, they're going from 30-minute headways that they might experience on evenings and weekends to 20. So essentially, everyone is going to be getting more frequent service, and it's standardized service across the board so that people can more reliably understand what the schedule looks like. They don't have to worry about which day of the week or time of day. It's going to be every 20 minutes. Part of that was an attempt to be cost neutral, which it is. So I'm happy to say that this change in our schedule is not actually having any financial impact on BART. It also brings the benefit of being able to retire all of our legacy trains. So we're actually shortening the train lengths that we'll be running because we'll be increasing the frequency. And because of that, only Fleet of the Future trains will be in the system as of this last Monday. So every time you go to a station, you'll get a bright, shiny new train coming your way. 2 other things just to let you know about fare gates. So our new and improved fare gates, we're having our pilot installed in 3 months at the West Oakland station. They're going to have a couple of different door designs, if you will, panels. So you'll have a chance, if you'd like, to go visit and see which one you like and vote. Tell us which ones you think work well. And then once that really has been settled on, that'll be rolled out over the next couple of years to all of our stations. We have 700 or so plus fare gates that will need to be upgraded. And then lastly, this is early, but coming to a BART station near you in 2024, we'll be moving to open payment. So that will allow you to pay with your Apple Wallet or your Google Wallet at the turnstile, not having to tie yourself to having a Clipper card.
Oh, that's good.
Thank you, Chair Glover. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Didn't you have one other good statistic about ridership?
I did have another statistic about ridership. Thank you, Newell. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yesterday's ridership was, I believe, our highest post-pandemic at 192,000 riders. That's around 45%. So we're tracking with budget, which is good, which means the crystal ball predictions that staff helped make is in alignment with what we're seeing for riders taking trains. So we are inching forward and increasing ridership numbers. So thank you for reminding me, Noel.
Hey, thank you for the good news. No other commissioners. We'll turn to our executive director.
Good evening, everyone. First, thank you for accommodating the schedule with this special board meeting this evening, and hope everyone enjoys the conference next week. We always think that August is our slowest month, but it always tends to be our busiest month. We are dark in August, and so we've been quite busy here, and I just want to really thank staff for all the great work that they're doing. There's always a lot going on day by day. There's a ton of meetings, and there's a lot of action happening every single day here at CCTA. Also just want to thank the admin staff and the team for turning around this board packet as quickly as they did. The committee meetings were actually just last Thursday, so we had to turn around in one day, so it took a lot of work and time and focus to get the packet out. So, are you hearing an echo? Yeah. Is it like, I don't know why it's so echoey, but, so first, the second thing I want to do is, I'm really pleased. Yeah, maybe it sounds like it's echoing. So, the next thing I want to do is basically introduce some of our new employees. Kat was already out of the bag on that last agenda item, but I'm really pleased to announce the addition of Rashida Kamara. As you all know her, she comes from County Connection, and she's got over 27 years of experience in the accessibility, transit, and disabled space. We're really excited to have her here at CCTA to be our accessibility and equity program manager. And I think this is really unique. I think, within an agency to really have someone dedicated to focus on really all things accessibility and equity, not only within the authority, but throughout the entire county. And so we're really excited to have her. And I want to give her a opportunity to kind of say a few words and welcome Rashida.
Can everybody hear me? Thank you very much. Good evening. Thank you for having me. Well, I love transit. You get to pivot. Like, I didn't know I was going to be standing in front of you and actually saying something, so we're going to pivot on that. Well, this is exciting. I've been in Contra Costa County for close to 30 years, and most of those years, about 27 of them, have been in specialized transportation services, and this will be our disability community and also our seniors. And if there's one thing I love is how do we turn this no into a yes? How do we make this person-centric? And that's what we're going to be doing. I've been doing it for a number of years now with East Bay Paratransit. I was with East Bay Paratransit for about 18 years. I managed their call center. I was their director of operations for many years, working with AC Transit and BART, and I was also their general manager for many years. And we started many programs when we were with them. And then after that, I managed my own transit logic solutions for a couple of years, and the idea was to work with existing programs from the ground up, from staffing and helping them to find solutions to everyday problems. How can we make you more streamlined? How can we actually get the bus or the vehicle? How can we get the person in the vehicle? How can we get rid of the challenges that seem to always pose themselves when we're talking about transit? And then, of course, with County Connection. With County Connection, that was a really huge deal. Who would have thunk it? COVID. And even though it was a dark time in our life, in this world, it provided an opportunity for us to change the way transportation is provided. It actually changed the mindset. It changed institutions. And we were just a little bit more open. I mean, it was the ultimate kumbaya moment. And so once that moment presented itself, it was a time for us to do the right thing and get some programs going. We had studied them for so many years, but this was an opportunity for us to stop studying and actually do some real life studies. What is this really going to take? It gave us an opportunity to break all of these myths surrounding these transportation challenges. So I'm really excited because this just gives me an opportunity to do it a little bit more with Contra Costa County, so not just Central Contra Costa, but definitely Contra Costa as a whole. We're hoping to implement some programs that act as templates for the nation, because that's what we did in County Connection. So we're hoping to just go ahead and expand that. So thank you very much, and I really appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to be here and do that. So far, I've been here 3 days, and it's a great team, so I think we're going to move it forward.
All right. Well, we want to welcome you aboard, and certainly you're the right person at the right time with the right agency. So welcome.
Like it. Nationwide.
That's what we do here at CCTA. Well, thank you, Rashida. We're really excited to have you on board, and I love the fact that she's willing to accept the challenge and get the yes. That's what we're all about here at CCTA. So our next person I want to introduce is our new contract manager, Daniel Limmerstein, and he is long time needed here at CCTA to help us get organized on the contract side. So he actually brings over 17 years of experience with public contracts. Before coming to CCTA, he actually worked at the Oakland Housing Authority for 13 years, doing contract compliance general services. And so before entering public service, he used to work for several business litigation firms. And so he's got a Juris Doctorate degree and a master's in business administration. But the cool thing also is that he has also been a long-time Contra Costa resident, lives in Walnut Creek for the last 30 years. So welcome, Daniel. I'll give you open the floor to say a few words.
Sure. Just want to say thank you, Tim and the board. I look forward to joining the CCTA team and, use my wealth of experience in housing, public housing, and GSA to assist the team, and look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Well, welcome. It's great to be working in your own backyard, so we welcome you here at CCTA.
It's a way better commute. So, no, Daniel, I mean, he's been here for a little about 3 weeks or so. So he's been really rolling up his sleeves, meeting with the staff, getting sorting through contracts, the task orders. But he already has developed a business plan to take our contract administration to the next level with using and leveraging data and performance type metrics. So we're really excited about that and looking forward to seeing that implemented. Okay, so kind of just going into some of the other general updates. You may have saw in the executive director report, we did have a Gomentum Station ad hoc committee meeting, and so that was really exciting to see the work that we've been doing, and I plan on bringing an item to the board here soon on that. But you may have heard that Brookfield was selected for the exclusive negotiating agreement with Concord, and I'm happy to say that we've been working very closely with Brookfield on that plan. And so as part of the work that we're doing, we actually hired a company to actually design out the future expansion of Gomentum Station into a full proving ground, basically. And that proving ground is really to meet the needs of our current partners, but also to really set the stage for Gomentum Station to be a nationally recognized proving ground. And so, coupled with that, we also are doing an economic development analysis to really understand how many jobs are going to be created by Gomentum Station and what the economic development benefits are going to be to Contra Costa County. And it's quite significant, actually. We're talking over 1,000 jobs, and that'll continue to grow over time. And then also we are developing the workforce development programs to go alongside with that to support not only Concord, but also our vision for more of a college type of campus within the development. And this would be programs similar to like Tesla Start. So Tesla Start has a current workforce development program that they're doing with Diablo Valley College here in Contra Costa County. And so that's a type of workforce development program that we would expand to our partners, but also expand across the entire county and really be nationally recognized for that. We've been doing a scan of all the test facilities in the country that have workforce development programs, and surprisingly, there's only like one or two. So we would be basically setting the path or setting the standard for that. And I think alongside that, I think traveling is really important to see other things. And so I was recently in Melbourne, Australia at the ITS Global Summit, but I was invited to speak twice at the conference. But the real interesting part of it is I went to Transport for New South Wales autonomous vehicle test facility. And there was a lot, and I met with Megan Sharkey. Megan Sharkey actually came here from Australia, and I gave her a tour of Gomentum Station back in January. And so we've been exchanging information over the last year. And so they've got great plans to expand their facility. But what's interesting there is that they're doing what's called Euro NCAP testing. So if you want a vehicle to be certified and validated by the Euro standards, you go to that facility to get certified. And so that's a similar type of model that we're trying to mimic at Gomentum Station. And so we were able to really learn a lot while we were there and learn from each other. And we'll continue to learn as we kind of continue to build each other's programs.
Tim, on that,
yeah.
would it be possible to get a briefing in a month or two about what the future plan is and that development, the employment development?
Yeah, we're finalizing all the reports right now. So once all the reports are fairly finalized, we just had a meeting with Ernst & Young, who developed the economic development report, and we have some final comments on that. So once we get everything finalized, my plan was to bring everything to the board for an update. Yeah. So So kind of moving along, Rashidi Barnes, the CEO of Tri-Delta Transit, and him and I, we actually visited Indigo in Indiana. Indigo is a nationally recognized large transit operator, and we learned about bus rapid transit. And so we specifically were there to learn how we're going to do BRT, best practices around BRT, and that's particularly of interest for the San Pablo BRT project, but also a BRT project we're considering now in eastern Contra Costa County. But just one fine point on this that we learned was tying economic development to transit. That was really interesting, and how transit can support economic development. And they used that methodology to really design the transit system of the future, and then basically build upon that to actually pass a voter-approved referendum to fund the entire future system. So it was really interesting to kind of hear their story and how they came to that, and obviously there's some similarities in terms of what we're trying to accomplish here at CCTA. The summer event series has been going great. Just at a high level, we've been in 9 cities in the past couple months, and we've had over 1,300 visitors at our booth, over 1,700 visitors at the actual shuttle. So we're making a real impact with the summer event series, and I think this is something we want to continue doing. I will say what we are learning is that they are very resource intensive in terms of this community event series, but I do believe that it's the right thing to do to get us in the community, make people aware of what we're doing, who CCTA is doing, and I think we're making a real impact in terms of doing that. The Presto shuttle down in Bishop Ranch, I always like to give an update there, but we've had over 800 riders to date on the Presto shuttle. It continues to increase. We do have some of our, technical issues on time to time where the shuttle might be down, but we're continuing to work through that with Beep and the Navia team. But it's continuing to grow, continue to be successful. And then also just to know, I been recording on the On the Patio podcast. So there's a new episode with Andy Vermeer, the executive director of MTC. We had talked about more of the bigger regional picture. So if you have an opportunity to tune in, check it out. And then also those listening on the board meeting. And then just a friendly reminder, we've got the board workshop coming up on October 19th and 20th. So hopefully you're holding both days for that as well. The Friday will be a half day, and then Thursday will be a full day on your calendars. And just high level, we're going to be talking about 3 agenda items. One is going to be Drive Our Future. We're going to talk a lot about the countywide transportation plan and get your input into the process and into the CTP. Most notably about, and maybe you can start thinking about this, is how are we going to measure success as we look towards the future? So that's what we're going to be talking about there. And then as part of that, as we look towards success, how are we going to look towards future funding? So we're going to be talking about that at the board workshop as well. And then we're also going to be talking about advancing the organization. So we're going to do a deeper dive into CCTA 4.0 and also give you an update on the organizational assessment. So we did kick off the organizational assessment 2 weeks ago. They're doing staff interviews right now, and we're planning to bring an update to the board at the board workshop. And then the Friday morning is going to be all about transit. So we're going to talk about the integrated transit plan, but also get into the transit fiscal cliff and kind of the future of transit on the Friday morning. So that's also part of the board workshop. So make sure you have those on your calendars. So that's it, but thank you for everything, and please let me know if you have any questions or comments.
Any questions?
I have a comment. I want to thank you for the increased social media presence of CCTA now. I've really been noticing that on Facebook, which I go onto for my city, but CCTA is really reaching out to average people right now, and also more on LinkedIn and on other platforms. And folks, this is really, really important. I think in the past we've talked a lot to transportation professionals and geeks like the rest of us, but now we're really going out and we're reaching the average people and getting their feedback and letting them know who we are. And social media is part of that. So I want to thank you and the entire staff for all these efforts, and to all the staff that come out and are at the booths when it's hot and blazing, and it's kind of tough. They have to give up their Saturday or Sunday, but I really thank them all for being there. It's great.
That's great. Paul?
Paul? Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks to Tim, because I binged your podcast. Sat there having a
And
cocktail.
verdict?
And it was fun.
Okay, all
Us
right,
Transportation junkies, we should all do that. It was really a nice day, a lot of, and especially Chris here. I thought the
Open to any
the kickoff
suggestions.
was really good.
Open to any suggestions, yeah.
I'll think about it.
Our chair is back, and he's going to wrap this meeting up for us.
I do have Representative Peoples with his hand raised, so I'm going to allow him to talk. Representative Peoples?
Yes, thank you. Sorry I couldn't be there today, but the rescheduled meeting was the same night as my Board of Directors meeting. I'd like to tell you a little bit about three things. AC Transit's quite proud of the fact that the American Public Transportation Association chose us as the best transit agency in the United States in our category, which is under 50 million passengers a year. That award will be made at the AC Transit, or at the APTA annual meeting, which is in Orlando. Unfortunately, I will not be there because I refuse to give money to Florida. So that's one thing. And we have two big projects that are going on simultaneously. One is a realignment project. We are examining all of our routes and all the work that we do and seeing if we can do it better. We do that about every 10 years, but in particular, COVID has made massive changes in the way people commute to work and the hours they go in, et cetera. So we've got to work on all that. One of the things that's interesting to me as a transit geek is this is the first time that we've used cell phone data. It's not cell phones themselves, it's their apps, but that's a detail. So we have detailed information on every trip in our district, whether it's on foot, on a bicycle, in a private car, in Uber, on one of our buses. So that's an interesting process. Anybody who's interested can go to actransit.org/realign, and there's all the presentations are there, and they're quite interesting. The second major thing that we're doing is because of a threatened lawsuit, we are changing our board composition from 5 people in wards, that is districts, and 2 people at large, to 7 people in wards. And that process is primarily being handled by outside contractors, but it is on our website, actransit.org/redistricting. And that's an interesting process, and I think some of your cities have had to go through this. You might be interested in it from sort of a theoretical point of view. And of course, anybody in West County is got to be interested in a very practical point of view. But anyway, those are my announcements. Sorry to take so long.
Thank you.
Can I, just one thing I forgot to mention is this month is Transit Month. And so we've been supporting transit on social media all month and just really highlighting a lot of our partnerships with our transit operators and the work that they've been doing in terms of transit recovery, accessible transportation. And so it's been a really kind of important month, and it's been great to hear all the updates from the operators in terms of the great successes that's been going on in transit.
Okay, are there any other comments or questions? Thank you for that update report. At this time, the calendars all are provided in your packet, and we are adjourned. Our next meeting will be held on October 18th.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Recording stopped.